Are you terrified of failure, for example? Dear founder and businesswoman, so terrified that you'd rather stay exactly where you are than risk putting yourself out there? You'd rather keep your prices low, stay in a safe role, skip the big pitch, than try and fall flat? Well, I get it. We've been taught that failure means you're not good enough, that it's something to hide, something to be ashamed of. But what if you've been lied to about that, about failure in general? What if it's not your enemy? It's the exact thing standing between you and the business you actually want to build. I know this because I failed spectacularly. I spent 3 weeks in prison for drunk driving. I traveled around through Asia and almost died. I built businesses that crashed. I lived in the middle of nowhere on a remote island for 5 years learning brutal lessons I couldn't have learned anywhere else. And every single failure taught me something. No mentor, no course, no book ever could. Today, I'm showing you why failure is non-negotiable for building anything meaningful in your life whatsoever. Why avoiding it is keeping you stuck at the income level you're at. And how to use failure strategically so you can finally charge what you're worth, pitch for what you deserve, and lead like you're capable of. Because here's the truth. There's never been a culture that taught women from our narrative, from our history, to fail well, to see it as the gold mine it actually is. And that needs to change now and forever. So let's go. Let me tell you why you're so afraid of failing. And we all have it, so don't feel shame or guilt about it. It's not because failure is actually dangerous. It's because of what you think it means about you. From childhood, for example, you absorb these beliefs. Failure means you're not smart enough. 1. Failure means you're not ready yet. A second one. Failure means people will judge you. Failure means you should quit. And those beliefs, they're running your business right now. They're running your life, everyday life. Every time you have a brilliant idea but don't act on it, that's fear of failure. Every time you undercharge because you're not ready to raise your prices, that's fear of failure. Every time you don't apply for the opportunity because you think you need credentials first, that's fear of failure. You're not building, you're just avoiding mistakes. And that avoidance is costing you clients, revenue, market position, and impact. That's just a few of them. Here's what kills me. Women in business have never been culturally taught to fail well. We've been taught to be perfect, to wait our turn, to earn permission before we try. But failure, that's where the breakthrough lives. When you're failing, you're in free fall. You can't hold on to an old playbook. You can't rely on what's always worked. You have to let go. Let go of control. And in that space, that uncomfortable, terrifying space, new ideas show up. New strategies, new approaches you'd never have discovered if you played it safe. Failure doesn't just put you back at square one. It gives you information you can't get any other way. That's just a fact. Information that lets you build something better, something outside the standard playbook everyone else is following. I've been taught from day one to embrace failure. We'd have sharper critical thinking. We'd trust our instincts more. We wouldn't waste energy trying not to look stupid or worrying if we're good enough. Imagine that. We just execute. But instead, we spend all our time trying to fail, trying not to embarrass ourselves in the pitch, trying to price ourselves out of the market, trying not to look inexperienced in the meeting. All that energy focused on avoiding failure instead of understanding. Success requires this. Success requires failure. You can't have one without the other. So let me tell you about one of the most humiliating failures in my life. My whole life I've been built on trial and error. Since I didn't have traditional guidance, I had to figure everything out by trying, failing, and trying again. Getting myself up on the horse. That meant I tested society's rules. I tried to fit the mold. And when it didn't fit, I failed constantly. One of my biggest failures was using alcohol as a crutch. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I struggled to connect with people. I didn't understand social dynamics or why people behaved the way they did. I felt like a permanent outsider, so I drank. From a young age, alcohol helped me fake it. Until I drove drunk, crashed the car, and of course got caught. 3 weeks in prison. That prison time taught me something I couldn't have learned any other way. Freedom is non-negotiable for me. I need space to think, create, execute when inspiration hits. Being locked up, stripped off all of that, I had to change the entire game. I had to turn inward, use my imagination and creativity internally instead of executing externally. It was brutal. 3 weeks felt like forever, but it taught me that everything has consequences. And what matters most is how you handle those consequences, how you solve the problems that comes from failing. That's when I started to see failure differently. I got curious about it, not that the failure itself, but what's on this other side of it. Now, failure is a friend. A difficult one, sure. Most of the time it's horrible to go through. But the more you practice it, the more you know on the other side is an insight worth absolutely everything. I want you to hear this clearly. Failure is uncomfortable. It's painful, it's humbling, but it's also where all your growth lives. Here's what changed it. When you let go of the fear of failure, you unlock real innovation. You think more creatively. Your imagination expands. You stop living a restricted life where you constantly are afraid of what people will think and what might go wrong. Because the time spent in that fear is completely waste. Founders and leaders who embrace failure, make it part of the culture, are going to dominate the future. That's just a fact. And listen, it's human, and human is the currency we need moving forward. Not the efficiency of AI, not ChatGPT, writing your emails, or Claude drafting your strategy docs. Those are tools, helpful ones, yes, but they can't replace your imagination. Your unique blueprint, your creativity. That's what builds a future business. And it only happens when you give yourself permission to fail. Think about every major business breakthrough, every innovation that disrupted an industry, every company that changed the game. They all come from failure, from someone trying something that didn't work, from learning what doesn't work so they could figure out what does. Thomas Edison, for example, failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about those failures, he said, "I didn't fail. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of innovation. That's the mindset of creation. That's what you need if you want to build something that matters. But if you're spending all your time trying to fail, trying not to make mistakes, trying not to look inexperienced, you're not innovating. You're just protecting what you already have. A copy from another copy. And protection doesn't build empires. It just maintains mediocrity. So if you want to create something new, something different, something that hasn't been done in your industry before, you have to be willing to fail. Not just willing, you have to be ready for it. You have to commit. Because failure means you're trying. It means you're pushing past the standards playbook. It means you're learning. And that's where real business's growth lives. So how do you actually embrace failure? How do you shift from avoiding it to using it strategically. Let me walk you through it step by step. Reframe what failure means. Number one, stop thinking of failure as the end. Start thinking of it as the market research. Failure isn't saying you're not good enough. It's saying that approach didn't work. Try a different one. Failure isn't saying give up. It's saying adjust your strategy, pivot, learn. Every time you do fail, ask, what did this teach me? What do I know now that I didn't know before? That's the value, not the failing. It's the information you get from it. Think of one recent business failure, a pitch that didn't land, a launch that flopped, a client you lost. Write down 3 things it taught you about your market, your messaging, or your offer. The second one, fail small and often. Don't do big. Most women avoid failure by not trying, or they try once, fail, and decide they're not cut out for it. But here's a strategy. If you fail small and often, you test out small ideas, run experiments, try new pricing, pitch new clients, see what works, then the fall won't be that hard. The more you fail, the less terrifying it becomes, and the faster you learn what actually converts. So stop waiting for the perfect strategy. Stop trying to avoid all the possible mistakes. Just test something, anything, see what happens. Adjust based on results. Pick one thing you've been avoiding because you're afraid it might not work. A price increase, a cold pitch, a bold piece of content, try it. Expect it might fail. Learn from the data. 3, share your failures. And this is my most important one. Failure feels shameful because we hide it. We only share the wins. We only post the polished highlight reel. But when you share your failures, when you own them, when you talk about what you learned, you take away the power. And you let other ones permission to fail as well. I share my failures constantly. The prison time, almost dying in Asia, 5 years in remote island for learning brutal lessons. The business that didn't work, that flopped, not because I'm proud of the failures themselves, but because I'm proud of what they taught me, who I become, what I can show the world based on my failures. And I want you to know failure is part of building something real, not proof you're not ready. Share one business failure with your network, not to make excuses, just to own it and share what it taught you about your industry, your clients, yourself. 4, celebrate the attempt, not just the outcomes. We've been taught to celebrate closed deals and revenue milestones, but what if you celebrate the courage it took to try, the willingness to pitch when you felt underqualified, the guts to raise your prices, the commitment to test new approaches? That's where real growth happens. Not in the outcome, it's in the attempt, you daring to step into free fall. So start acknowledging yourself for trying, for putting yourself in the room, in the center of the room, for being willing to fail. Every try you try something regardless of the outcome, acknowledge yourself. I won. That took guts. I'm proud of that. And build a failure practice. Make failure a regular part of your business. Not something you avoid, something you schedule. Set a goal to try something every week. That might not work. Test a new offer. Reach out to a dream client. Experiment with bold positioning. And when it fails, document it. What did you try? What happened? What did you learn? Over time, you'll build a database of failures, and you'll see every single one gave you competitive intelligence. So set a failure goal for this week. What's one thing you're going to test that might not work? Try it. Document what you learned about your market. And another one, surround yourself with women who embrace failure. If you're surrounded by people who play it safe, who never takes risk, who hide their mistakes, you'll stay stuck in that mindset because that's the energy you will attract and also receive. But if you surround yourself with women who embraces failure, who share the lessons, who celebrate trying, you'll start to see failure as fuel, your fuel. So find the right people, the ones who are testing offers, the ones who are failing forward, the ones who understand that failure is the price of innovation. Identify one woman in your network who embraces it. Reach out, ask her about her biggest business failures and what it taught her. So what are you going to do this week? What risk are you going to take? What bold move are you going to test? What boundary are you going to push? Because if you're not failing, you're not growing your business and you're not evolving as the unique woman you are. If you're not making mistakes, you're not learning what your market actually wants. If you're not trying, you're not building. And I'd rather see you fail trying than succeed at playing small. I failed more times than I can count, and I will continue every single day. And every single failure taught me something no course or mentor ever could. Prison taught me that freedom is essential for how I create, that I need space to build. Almost dying in Asia taught me I was seeking validation in all the wrong places. That the answers are internal, not external. 5 years on a remote island taught me about my own rejection patterns, about the childhood programming running my business decisions, about how to validate myself instead of waiting for clients to do it. Every business that didn't work taught me what does work, what resonates with my market, what actually matters. And I wouldn't trade any of these failures because they made me who I am today. They gave me the insights I needed, the positioning I use, the understanding I share. Your failures will do the exactly same thing for you if you let them. So stop avoiding failure, stop being terrified of it, stop letting it keep you at a revenue level you're stuck at. And remember, being a woman and being a businesswoman is the exact same thing. So embrace it, use it, learn from it, because failure is not your enemy. It's your competitive advantage. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner you will start building the business you're actually capable of. If this hit home, subscribe and follow me for lots of more great ideas. I'm here to help you embrace failure, extract the lessons, and use them to build something that actually matters. Because you have everything you need. You just need the courage to fail and fail your way to finding it. If you want to succeed as an innovative and creative leader, you can get my free 7 days toolkit to change your patterns now. One each day in your mailbox. Your future depends on you committing to change old patterns that doesn't serve you anymore. The link is in my description, and see you next Tuesday.